and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about my Kindle Unlimited TBR. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a little bit of a chill video. I feel like I always say that and then I end up talking forever and ever. But I just wanted to talk about some books that I have checked out on my Kindle Unlimited. If you guys don't have Kindle Unlimited, I highly suggest you do. They're always having sales and deals that you can save money for the subscription. But basically, you can rent or borrow 10 books at a time, and I always have it like fully checked out. So I'm going to be sharing some of the books that I currently have checked out on my Kindle Unlimited. I will say I have a bit of a theme going on. I'm really into reverse harem, really into polyamorous romances. It's kind of a vibe. I feel like I really went through like a hardcore historical romance phase, and I'm still deep in that phase, but I'm enjoying some more contemporaries recently. I have 5 reverse harems on this list and 2 poly romances on this list. So clearly we have a theme going on. I'll start with the 2 polyamorous romances that I have on this list. You guys know I'm a huge fan of poly romances. I have a whole recommendation video that I will leave down below. I love romances with 3 or more people. It's just what I'm into. And this one was recommended by one of you guys in that recommendation video, and it's called Forever Theirs by Anna Stone. I have read a few books by Anna Stone and really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to read this one. This is the 3rd in the Mistress series, but it does say that you can read it as a standalone. Synopsis says, a billionaire executive, her glamorous fashion designer girlfriend, together they're determined to make one unassuming woman theirs. Very into that. This is a sapphic romance. So our heroine Chloe is a florist, and she ends up bumping into our 2 other heroines who are in a relationship, and they immediately have like an instant attraction to each other and want to bring Chloe into the relationship. This does have some slight BDSM elements to it. I think most of Anna Stone's books have that. For this one, I believe Dana and Gabrielle are the one in a couple, and they're more dominatrix vibes, and then Chloe is the one entering into the relationship and she's more submissive. So excited to read that. Thank you guys so much for recommending this one. It seems right up my alley. So the next one I've had on my TBR forever, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in a video already, but I haven't read it yet, and it is called Fighting for 3. This is a poly romance with 2 guys and 1 girl. Heroine, her name is Vanessa, and she is a model turned actress getting pretty famous, and she ends up getting a stalker. So her and her husband are pretty concerned, and they want to hire a bodyguard. They want to hire someone for protection. Vanessa and Michael are the ones married and in a relationship, and they end up hiring Brendan, who is an MMA fighter, and he is going to kind of like be their bodyguard but also teach them self-defense, and they all kind of fall for each other and have an instant attraction. Very excited to read this one as well. Really like the description. It says he's the bad boy who makes them feel safe. Like all the buzzwords in that one sentence, like exactly what I want. Give it to me. Want to read it right now. Okay, so let's talk about some of the reverse harem books that I want to read. Again, a lot of these are recommendations from you guys. One I am desperate to read is called 4 Psychos, and I think Lacey is the one who recommended this book. She loved it. I've seen this kind of floating around. This one is a darker romance, and our heroine is a ghost. That's kind of interesting, and she has been haunting the 4 heroes, and they form a romance. That's really all I know about that. This is the 1st in a series. It's called the Dark Side series. Since this is a reverse harem, it is our 1 heroine and her 4 guys that she's in a relationship with. Not sure if she ends up with 1 in the end or if it's like a poly situation. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so the next one on the list is called Queen Takes Night. This is the 1st book in the Vampire Queen series. It is a shorter book. It's only 190 pages. You guys know I really like reading books under 200 pages right now because I'm in a deep reading slump, so I really enjoy novellas. This one, oh, you know what? I actually don't know if this is menage or reverse harem because it's our heroine and 2 vampire knights. So is it a reverse harem if it's only 2 heroes? I feel like that's menage. You know what I mean? Anyways, it says a lost virgin vampire queen, 2 vampire knights sworn to protect her. It's about to get very hot and bloody. And that is what I've heard about this series. It is very, very steamy. There's some blood play. It's a paranormal romance. Basically, our heroine is a long-lost queen, and she ends up meeting our heroes because they are two knights sworn to protect her and their kingdom. So this one I randomly saw on Kindle Unlimited. It was in my recommendations, and I was super intrigued. So let me know if you've read this. This is Daughters of Olympus by Frankie Love, and it's 5 reverse harems jumbled together in one big book. It's like 600 pages, but it's 5 individual stories. It says Daughters of Olympus is a 5-book paranormal romance reverse harem series. Land, sky, sea, underworld. All 4 at odds, and only the daughters of Olympus can bring them together to save mankind. They may have ancient blood coursing through their veins, but in their hearts they are everyday women struggling to survive, not knowing how to harness their potential. Love is the last thing on their mind. These women are descendants of some type of Greek god, and they're supposed to all bound together to save this fantasy world. And then these men, they're harem, if you will, are their protectors, and they're kind of drawn to them, and that sounds really interesting. I think it's kind of cool that it's sort of like an anthology. Read each individual story by itself as well. So yeah, I started on the first one, which was the sea one, and it was okay. It kind of like hopped in really, really quickly, and I felt like it just breezed through a lot of the world building. So I'm hoping some of the other stories are a little bit better, but I'm still excited for this one. Next one was another reverse harem that was recommended to me on Kindle Unlimited, and I actually have no idea what this synopsis is about. I kind of clicked on it because of some of the reviews sounded interesting, and the cover looked interesting. Yeah, that's literally the whole reason I did it. So we'll read the synopsis together. It's called Of Moons and Monsters by Willow Hadley. It is a fantasy reverse harem series. This is the first in the series. This is a relatively newish release. It was released of March of this year, so the second book isn't out yet. I'll read the synopsis. It says, Hell hath no fury like a man scorned. Isla learns that lesson all too well when she agrees to go to a party with her half-demon best friend Alistair to help him make his vampire ex-boyfriend jealous. Their plan backfires when Alistair X turns out to be more psycho than Isla realized, and she finds herself being kidnapped and sold on the supernatural black market. I'm intrigued. Keep going. While Isla's only human, she spent her life surrounded by supernatural creatures. Of course she did. Her situation is precarious, but she's pretty sure she knows what to expect, at least until her buyer ends up transporting her to a completely different realm called Raya, where nobody speaks her language. So there's a language barrier. All of these guardians are expected to choose a mate, which is why she's gifted to them. There is a language barrier. It's a fantasy romance, so a lot of world building. You know what? That sounds really, really interesting. I'm very excited. On my Instagram, who were your favorite reverse harem authors? And almost everyone said Catherine Moon. And I have seen this book quite a lot on Instagram and on various different booktube videos. This one is A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor. It's the first in the Tempting Monsters series. Lacey from Lacey Book Lovers read this book and she gave it a 4 stars, which is promising. This one is set in the Victorian era. Our heroine is a maid and she ends up getting sent to this manor, and there's quite a bit of like different types of monsters and creatures that she ends up having relations with, which sounds like a fun steamy time. People are just saying they loved it. It was steamy, it was fun, monster, magic. I mean, you don't have to say a lot to convince me. I'm definitely gonna read that, okay? Speaking of monster romance, another monster romance that I really want to read is called Skin by Avita Weiss. I saw Amanda from Talk About Swoon on Instagram talk about this, and it's literally described as like a quick, smutty monster romance. This is a romance between a gargoyle and a banshee. Fun. It's a really short novella. So interesting. Our heroine doesn't like to be touched by anyone because she was cursed with the ability to soak up information through her skin. That is so interesting. Ends up getting partnered with our hero because they're both working on a mission together and they can't resist their attraction to each other even though she has that curse. So they kind of like overcome it together and build a relationship, and that That just sounds great. Paranormal romance, I guess that's kind of my vibe right now. This is The Witches Wolves by Ellie Mae McGregor. It also has an Instagram. It is called Bisexual Book Nerd. I read her Christmas novella and loved it. So I'm so excited that she released another novella. It's a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, but queer, which I love. That's how it's described in the synopsis. As Manning has been caught in one scandalous situation too many, now she's on the run. When she finally sees a lone cottage in the wood, she thinks she's found her salvation, only to find that she stumbled into a den of wolves. But she soon finds that these wolfmen are much more interested in her pleasure than they are in her pain. Give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, this is a menage romance. It's 2 guys, 1 girl. I'm into it. Yeah, last one on my list is a Penelope Douglas book. I have mixed feelings about Penelope Douglas. Some of her books I really like. Some of them I'm just like, meh. Like I really loved Birthday Girl, but I wasn't a big fan of Credence or Credence, whatever it's called. This one sounds like something I would like though. It is called, I cannot pronounce this word, Triced, I think so, Triced 6 Venom. It is a bully sapphic romance. Our heroines have an instant kind of chemistry and connection with each other, but they also have a little bit of a bully situation in their school. I'm not a huge fan of like enemies to lovers and bully romances, but I really want to read this one, so we're going to read it anyways. Let me know if you've read it. I have really loved her books or just felt meh about them, so I'm hoping this is in the love category. It has amazing reviews on Goodreads, so I have high hopes. If you guys have read any of the books that I've mentioned, let me know in the comments down below. Recommend some books that you want me to read on Kindle Unlimited. Pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye!